Hi, everyone, and welcome along to the latest edition of your educational intensive episode brought to you by the Fitness Business Podcast. I'm your host, Chantal Broderick, and today we're going to be chatting about generating leads on LinkedIn using video. Specifically, we're going to dive into 4 key areas: best practices for posting video on LinkedIn, tips and tricks for using live video, how to use LinkedIn stories, and video tips for effective private messages on LinkedIn. Now, it is my absolute pleasure to introduce you to our expert guest for today. She's the co-founder, chief visibility officer, master trainer, and head of personal branding for Viveka, Viveka von Rosen. Viveka, welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much. It's absolutely my pleasure to be here. And finally, LinkedIn has like some cool video stuff, so folks other than B2B sales people are interested in it.
Well, we're excited. We're really excited. And I've got to say, I think it has been about 4, maybe 5 years since I've done an episode on LinkedIn. So we are well and truly overdue for this. And I've got to tell all of the FBP family out there, when we decided that what the topic would be for this actual episode, I went about, as I normally do, and searched online for the best authority on LinkedIn to come and speak to us here today. And I just want to share with you a few of the highlights that popped out for me when I was looking at Viveka's profile. Now, Viveka, you are a blogger and LinkedIn expert for Social Media Examiner, our good friends over there at Social Media Examiner, because we have had Michael Stelzner on the show before, which is fabulous. You're a LinkedIn learning author, international keynote speaker, and not to mention your Instagram profile is at LinkedIn expert. So I feel pretty confident that we've definitely got the right expert for today. I'm so excited to have you here, Viveka.
Don't reach out to me on Instagram because I never use it.
We'll leave the Instagram. It'll just be me.
I'll be like, hey.
But I love that. I'm like, right, this is the woman for the show. I've got to tell you, Viveka, of all the platforms that fitness owners use to market their business, I think that in most cases, LinkedIn is probably the one that they are least familiar with, to be honest. So do you want to talk to us about why you feel that there are opportunities for fitness businesses to use LinkedIn?
Absolutely. And if this was a show for just trainers, physical therapists, people who need to go to the gym more, obviously then Instagram's a natural fit, Facebook's a natural fit, TikTok is probably a really good fit. But for our fitness business owners, whether you've got, one company or one gym or 400, you do have to start considering LinkedIn because it's a great way to find vendors, to find trainers. You can also, of course, get clients there as well. But you really have to begin to understand that LinkedIn is more than just. I literally just got off of another interview, so I'm hoping I don't cross over. Just assume I've talked about this already, but we have to assume that LinkedIn is not just for people looking for a job, although you can certainly find candidates there too. It's really an opportunity of you to create a bigger brand, and like you said, you Googled LinkedIn expert, and chances are the reason I showed up is because my LinkedIn profile showed up. So there is something between LinkedIn and Google that, number one, depending on how you've customized and edited and updated your LinkedIn profile, it could show up when people are Googling just things in general in the fitness arena. And you want to make sure, if that's the case, if your LinkedIn profile or your LinkedIn company page are showing up, you got to look good, because you don't want that opportunity to lose money. You want to use that opportunity to gain more business and gain more followers and gain more connections. And one of my friends has a bathing suit company, and you'd normally think she does all the bikini and model wear and that kind of thing, and you think that's not the right place for, LinkedIn's not the right place for her. And yet she's enormously successful. Another friend of mine, Roger Wakefield, who we'll talk about a little bit later, well, I say friend of mine, I met him once at a conference in Social Media Marketing World, but he's a plumber, and he's He's got 183,000 followers because he's mastered LinkedIn Live. And so there are so many opportunities here. And if you are doing business at all, LinkedIn is where the business world hangs out. So that's why I wanted to talk to you today, even though you might be thinking LinkedIn's not for you.
You know what? I think that's so perfect. And I feel like since we've gone through all of this 2020 COVID
Yeah.
situation, a lot of people are offering more of a hybrid mix in their businesses these days.
Yes.
So they may or may not be open. They may or may not be working with clients, like their members, in person, but possibly online as well. I don't know
Yeah.
about you, but anytime that I meet a new person, or I'm dealing with a business, or I'm investing money in something,
Yeah.
I do Google their name, Google their business. And really, you do want to make sure that your profile is up to date. You've got all of the most relevant information. What's that saying? You are who Google says you are.
Yeah.
Like, if you want people to really have a look at your experience, your background. I mean, what a great place to actually put on there the fact that you're a member of an association, that you've got
Yeah.
the qualifications that you need to be training these people, some history about your gym ownership, if that might be the case. So I feel like this is hugely relevant, and probably more so right now than it has been in a while. So let's dive straight in, because I know we've got a lot to cover today. So Viveka, let's start off with best practices for posting video on LinkedIn, because
Yes.
this is brand new one for me. So let's go through it. Over to you.
So LinkedIn has a couple different ways that you can share video in your posts. Obviously, you can share a YouTube link, which is what most people do. And if you already have a YouTube channel, then awesome, you can just share the link. But you can also upload native video. So whatever video you created or you used to create the YouTube channel, you might consider uploading it natively. And I'll talk about why in a second, but let me give you the limitations. So it has to be under 10 minutes, has to be under 5 gigs, and it has to be more than 3 seconds. So those are your limitations right there. You can even upload 4K video, which is pretty cool. So whether you share a link, which then can be much longer than 10 minutes if you want, or upload native video, it's going to show up. And the cool thing about native video on LinkedIn is it starts playing. If you caption your video, of course, it'll play and read. And with LinkedIn, the algorithm depends on dwell time. So the longer people stay on your video, the more likely that will be to be shared to a bigger audience. I think we all know, unfortunately, with social, your video, your content is not going to go automatically out to everyone in your network. It doesn't matter what social media platform you're on. In Facebook, it's because you pay to play. I assume the same with Instagram. On LinkedIn, fortunately, they're not that savvy as far as ads. So it really is, the more time you can get people to stay on a video, the better. So you mentioned something earlier, Chantal, which I really liked, which was the fact that, I mean, I don't like this, it sucks, but I like you said it, the fact that a lot of businesses, a lot of fitness businesses are hurting right now because of COVID. I don't like that part. What I do like is that, a lot of these businesses are also realizing they need to get more agile and figure out a hybrid approach. And so for those businesses, maybe you own a gym, maybe you are a trainer, but you've got to find a way to bring your service, your product into corporations.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that we did, and also my friend Sue Zimmerman, who happens to be the Instagram expert.
She was also a guest on our show about 2.5 years. Oh, actually, she's been a guest twice.
Awesome. Perfect.
We
Yes.
love
So she's
Sue.
one of my besties, and that is the only time I'm ever on Instagram is when
All
I'm with
right.
Sue. So if you go to my Instagram account, all you're going to see is Sue, because
Okay, that makes
it's the
sense.
only time I'm on.
We love Sue.
But the one of the things that you can do is start looking at, oh, I know what I was going to say earlier. Okay. So one of the things that you can do is start looking for those corporations and those businesses and bring out, workout Wednesdays or something like that. And so I know that's what Sue is doing. She was bringing in somebody to her team, and her team would get together 3 times a week. And there's, I think, like 24 people on her team now. She's growing really quickly too. And they would all work out together, and it was it wasn't that expensive. It was a great team building opportunity. It really helped with the work-life balance. And, it was kind of a win-win-win situation all the way around. But the only way she found out about that was it was one of her clients. And he was trying to figure out what do I do now with COVID. And she was kind of brainstorming with him and hey, maybe you should offer workout sessions to corporate teams via Zoom. And she's like, and you can use me. And we do the same thing at Vengresso. We had someone come in from a big part of our teams in Colombia. So I think it was from Bogota, and he was like a well-known boxer. And he came in and taught us some boxing moves and stuff. Like, I don't look at what I just did with my hands.
You did that very well. It was very.
But so you got to think outside the box, and so LinkedIn is definitely an opportunity. Which brings me, I get there eventually, which brings me to how to use native video. You can start showcasing this, right? You can reach out to a friend who's got a company, say, listen, I'm going to do a couple sessions for you for free. I just want permission to video us in this Zoom environment. And I just want to be able to share that. And then you can take that video and chunk it down, even into separate exercises, which you can then actually productize if you wanted to. But I'm just thinking if you can grab like a 3-minute exercise that you do with this corporation via Zoom or whatever meeting tool you want to use, and then that's one of the native videos you share. But you don't just share the video. You always want to use as much of that description field as possible. So you say, hey, corporate leaders, is your team, getting more and more exhausted with COVID? Are you feeling like your team's really out of balance? Are you feeling like communications are down? Here's a fun idea. How about getting your team together for training every Wednesday? Here's an example of what I do with other corporate teams. Feel free to reach out to me, contact me, message me here if you've got any interest. And then you show the exercise, which is great because then they can show it to their teams and pass it along because it's public, and it gives them an opportunity to experience you and what you're doing. So obviously that works a little bit better if you're a trainer, but you want to start thinking about outside the box and how you can bring in this hybrid. Another thing we do at Vengresso, we cook meals together. So maybe you used to have a juice bar. Well, maybe you get together and teach people how to create healthy juices at home.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do? What did you offer before? And how can you pull it into the virtual world and still make money doing it?
Viveka, I think this whole idea about expanding to corporates is
Yeah.
really significant at the moment. In fact, I was interviewing a gym owner in Melbourne, in Australia,
Yeah.
and I don't know if you know, but in Victoria, um, they're having a terrible time with COVID.
Yeah.
They've gone through a secondary
Oh,
lockdown, and it's been a dreadful time for them. And
yeah.
she actually said to me quite unexpectedly, they have found a new market in
Yep.
corporates that
Yeah.
they weren't working with
Yeah.
pre-pandemic, and it's actually opened up new business for them, which I thought
Yeah.
is fantastic, because one of the things I love about reaching out to potential members and potential clients online is that
Yeah.
all of a sudden it really kind of puts down those geographic barriers that normally
Yes.
in an in-person location we can only get people that are in a 5 or
Exactly.
10-kilometer radius, right?
Yeah.
So we have this opportunity to expand our market and really professionalize our online presence using LinkedIn. So I love that. And just before we move on, Viveka, can you just quickly again recap those
Yeah.
couple of little stats that you gave us on video length and
Sure.
format that you gave right at the very beginning of that section?
Absolutely. So, MP4 format, you want to upload a video that's under 5 gig, and is greater than 3 seconds, so bigger than a GIF, and not beyond 10 minutes. Now, if you do have content that's longer than 10 minutes, then just share, upload it to YouTube or Vimeo and then just share that link.
Perfect.
So, and you want to make sure to preface anything that you share. This goes for all content. Just address your buyer or who your prospect or your audience is. let them, or identify their point of pain, and then let them know how you solve it, and then let them know what's in the video that you're going to be sharing, and then give them an easy way to reach out and connect with you. That's
Right.
key. You want to say, hey, just message me on LinkedIn, or, here's my, you can even put in the comments your meeting link if you want to. Just make it as easy as possible for them to be able to reach out to you.
And talk to me briefly, hopefully I'm not jumping ahead. LinkedIn and hashtags.
Yeah, yeah.
Down
So
the bottom?
hashtags are a thing again on LinkedIn.
Ah, there you
Yeah,
go.
yeah. So they're not nearly as sophisticated as Instagram. So
Hmm.
don't, like location-based hashtags and things like that. LinkedIn's like whatevs. But you want to have basically three types of hashtags. You want really popular ones like work-life balance, right? Or staying fit at staying fit when working at, no, that would be pretty niche, but work-life balance, that's a big one. Or
Hmm. Yep,
staying
that's
fit
good.
or something like that, or fitness rules, I know, but something that a lot of people are following. And you can see how many people following it just by literally by using the search bar on the top of LinkedIn. If you do hashtag, fitness rules, see how many people are following it, and that will give you a sense of if it's a popular one or niche. Both are good.
Yep.
Popular, there's a slightly better chance that your content will be seen by more people. But like with Instagram, if you've got a niche or niche hashtag where not, it's not going to be obvious, but maybe like HIIT, like not a lot of people on LinkedIn know what HIT training is, but but at least you
Thankfully, our
guys,
listeners will.
right? But yeah, but your audience will,
Yeah.
exactly. And so if you use hashtag HIIT, then people who are interested in interval training are going to show up. And then you want a hashtag, you use all three. Then you want a hashtag that's unique to you. So maybe it's the name of your company. Maybe it's some special exercise that only you do, but something like Orange Theory, right?
Hmm.
Or for us, it's Vengresso Pics, Vengresso Vids. And so that way, two things can happen. You can more easily find your videos, because even the video, I was really hoping they would have a timeline just for video, but it goes on the wall and then it disappears. Company pages, you can find your videos, but on a personal
On a
page, it's
personal
throw
page.
on the wall, disappears. Yeah.
Hmm.
So that way you can find it again, but also you might get a following around that particular
Hashtag.
hashtag.
I've
Yeah,
noticed
yeah,
that. I've only
yeah,
noticed that in the last couple of months. So I do some marketing for some companies in the industry. And quite often now I'll get a little ping notification from
yeah.
LinkedIn saying, oh, hashtag whatever the name is now trending, or you
Yes.
should
Yeah.
comment on this, or which
Yeah.
I think was really interesting. So that's a
Yeah.
new feature, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Relatively new feature on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So they've had hashtags for years, but they kind of play around with. So even 2 years ago, they had these hashtag communities, which now they've decided just to have timelines. So, but the fact is, the more hashtag, not the more hashtag, don't use more than 5 or 6 hashtags, but the more strategic you are with your hashtag use, the more likely you are to get engaged followers on your content.
Great tip. Excellent. Okay, so we've covered off native video. We snuck
Yeah.
in a little bit about hashtags in there. So let's move on to live video, because
Yeah.
this is the new kid on the block. So tell us a little bit about maybe some tips and tricks around live video for LinkedIn.
Absolutely. And, I think you actually have, I think your industry has a real edge here, because there are tons of LinkedIn trainers and social sellers and marketers using LinkedIn Live, right? We're all like, whoo, there's live. But there's not so many people. First of all, there's not a lot of people in your industry anyway on LinkedIn. And so there's a lot less people using live. So you do have an opportunity, if you do it well, to crush it. And again, I'm bringing up my friend Roger Wakefield, who's not really a friend, he's an acquaintance, but who a plumber, and he's being asked to speak everywhere now because he just nailed it. And he's not overly, he looks like a plumber, he talks like a plumber, and he's not like this, super savvy marketing dude, but everyone just like likes him. And he's just, well, it's just like any video that goes viral. You just feel like you know him, and he's just crushed LinkedIn Live. So there's a couple things. If you're going to do a live, first of all, you have to apply for it. So literally just Google apply for LinkedIn Live on Google or whatever browser you use, and it'll bring you to the page where you can apply for it. If you are already doing lives, if you're already doing Facebook Lives, Instagram Lives, YouTube Lives, Periscope, make sure that you put links to a couple of your live shows into the application. There's a much higher chance that you're going to get accepted if LinkedIn sees that you have already done lives and you're comfortable with it. So that's number one.
Viveka, why are they asking for applications? What's the reasoning behind that?
FOMO, I think, honestly. I think LinkedIn just has to do everything a little bit differently.
Right.
I'm not even kidding. I mean, I feel there's a couple things. First of all, they wanted to make sure it was really professional. So they're not going to give it to just anybody.
Yeah.
Secondly, you can't go natively live. You have to use a third-party app like Restream or StreamYard and so you have to be enough of a business and savvy enough in business to be able to afford, StreamYard at $29 a month or whatever it is.
Right.
So you can't go native like you can on all the other ones. You can use Zoom too, by the way.
Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you've got premium Zoom, you can use it to go live to LinkedIn. Well.
So are you saying there are no free third-party platforms you can use? All of them are.
You can use Restream.io. They get very generous. They have it's probably the best platform if you're looking for free, because you can stream up to 4 or 5 different channels for free using Restream. And there's a lot of benefits that they include. The user interface was just funky for me, and my computer didn't like it. So we actually use StreamYard, which is a little pricier. Okay. But yeah, so you can at least try using using Restream. And the cool thing is, if you've already got a show, you've already got a YouTube show, you've already got a Facebook show, you've already got well, you can't stream Insta from StreamYard, but you've already got a Periscope show, then you can just do the one show and stream to the many different places. Mm-hmm. And that's what we do, right? So with Restream, we share to our YouTube channel, Vengresso, and my own personal Twitter through Periscope, you can only do one LinkedIn, whether it's your company page or your personal profile or an event, and then to all our Facebooks. So we actually stream out, and it was called LinkedIn Live, and then we're like, wait, we're everywhere, so let's call it Vengresso Live. But the key, I think, to being successful with lives is setting expectations, and you want to make it as professional as possible, and you wanted to make it almost like a TV show. So same time, same place every week. And if you can't commit to that, just have someone who can step in for you if necessary. But you want to set that expectation. We're going to, like mine is every Friday, and it's a terrible time for Australia, but every Friday at 11:30 Eastern. So tomorrow at 11:30 Eastern for me. And so that's going to set the expectation. And then what you'll see is you get a lot of the same guests or a lot of the same audience who keep showing up, as well as new folks, which is great. It gives people a great sense of who you are. And again, with your business, you can talk about anything industry related. And you might, I can just to kind of pile on to let's take our gem into corporate, and now we can do it anywhere, and we're not restricted to one particular locale. I would actually maybe do a fitness class, do a half-hour fitness class. That's your live. It should be about a half hour. I'm 15 minutes to a half hour.
That's what I was going to ask you. So ideal length is about 30 minutes?
Yep. About 30 minutes, exactly, because otherwise people get bored. But I think that would be amazing if you could do a fitness class or a mind-body balance. Maybe you do a meditation, because that will get people there at the beginning, because you're going to be doing the warm-up then or whatever. You're going to be calming down. So, but whatever it is, I think that would be a great live, because you would get, and then they would be sharing it with their friends, and you have to join me next week. And then maybe you use the last 10 minutes for open Q&A, or do you have questions about stretching, or, whatever it is. And then you open it up to the audience, and then they get a great sense of who you are. Plus they get that live interaction. It's pretty exciting. And if you're a big gym and you've got pull, like maybe you got a famous trainer, or maybe you can hire a famous trainer, and you can, you invest in that way. Just think about, and now it's going out to everybody, not just the 300 people who could fit in your gym for that particular class, or 30 people. How many is there? 658 million people on LinkedIn now. So there's an opportunity there. And then of course,
yeah.
Continue. Yeah, I was just going to, and then there's all this branding opportunity where you can, you can share links, you can highlight people's comments, you can use different filters and backgrounds. So there's a lot of branding opportunity. You can interview folks. You can switch it up. Like every, the first Friday of every, or Monday, let's make it Monday because it's working. We want to kick off the week right. So every Monday, or the first Monday, is going to be exercise. The second Monday, we're going to be interviewing a fitness author. The third Monday is going to be exercise. The fourth Monday, we're going to be interviewing trainers within our own building, and then start it all over again. And so now you've got a little bit of change as well. Or you do 50-50, 15 minutes exercise, 15 minutes interview, whatever. But it's that every week, same thing. It's that expectation. And if you can get someone to help you moderate it, do so within your own company or third party. Just like,
yeah. Well, that helps with any live video, doesn't it?
Yes,
that's for sure. Viveka, there's a lot that I liked about what you just said. In particular, I like the fact that we have the option of, if you've got a regular Facebook live show, which I know a number of our viewers and listeners do have, that we can automatically, and is it a simultaneous stream? So simultaneously stream from Facebook to, so that's really cool to me, because then what a great efficient way of reaching two different audiences at the same time. Exactly. I really like the idea that you were kind of saying about, obviously great brand exposure, great way to reach a larger audience. My question for you is, I'm really fascinated about this plumber, your mate, your bestie, the plumber, because
my bestie who doesn't. I am,
because obviously, like a gym, his business, I'm sure, would be based on being able to drive from point A to point B, be within a certain distance of people. So how has he made it work? Oh, thank you. You've just shared a link with us. Very much. I see that there. We'll add that to the show notes. How has he used live video on LinkedIn to financially support? Like, has it just been a branding exercise, or has he actually generated additional revenue in some way from using live video on LinkedIn?
Yeah, I think it started out just as a branding exercise, like, oh, cool, what can this do? And you could see, it gets more and more and more polished as he goes along. So, but yeah, a lot of what he was doing at the beginning was just showing people plumbing fixes, like you would expect to see on YouTube, right? And then a lot of Q&A, but now he's kind of a brand ambassador for LinkedIn Live. So now he's getting paid to speak about
unexpected revenue streams like that.
Social media marketing expert, so he's really expanded beyond.
Interesting. I definitely see the opportunity. I definitely see some opportunities for people out there, and like he might be now paid for LinkedIn. Perhaps he's doing some speaking gigs, and that's an opportunity for many fitness professionals out there as well, or representing a product, a service, a brand out there. So that is great. Now, I'm conscious of time, so let's keep moving on. Let's talk about LinkedIn stories, because I've got to admit, when it first came out, got a little bit excited, being a big Instagram person myself, and I kind of jumped on. But then I was like, oh, I didn't keep going. So tell us about LinkedIn stories.
No, I did the exact same thing. In fact, I got it, lost it, got it again. The problem with stories on LinkedIn is there's got, first of all, a LinkedIn audience isn't used to stories. Like people who are only on LinkedIn, they don't even know what the story is. Like they don't understand the fear of missing out. They don't understand, that they were born of Snapchat and disappear in 24 hours. It's like they don't get it, right? Because it's so outside their sphere that they just don't get it. So that's number one. They might click on it by accident, be like, "Oh, that's cool," but then it's gone. And so that's kind of the downside of it. Is your audience really going to watch stories? I don't know. But the positive side of it is not a lot of people are using them. So if you are using stories, and if you continue to use, because a lot of people were like us, like, cool. And then, after the first week, we're like, oh yeah, there's stories. I forgot about that. So if you keep going, if you've got that consistency, but it's funny because people don't realize the work it takes. I did not realize the work it takes to do a good story. And again, Subi's one of my best friends. We hang out together. So a couple months ago, I went to Boston because I had to travel. Well, the Cape, she lives on the Cape. And, it literally, I was like, how long can it take to do a story? Like, okay, so a 30-second story, like 5 minutes. No, an hour. Like a really good story takes hours, and she has a whole team to make it better. And then, so it takes work. It absolutely takes work. But with branding, it can help to differentiate you. And if you're going to use stories, have a point. So we just released some new software called Fly Message, FLYMSG.io. And so my plan is to start doing stories to talk about Fly Message and pull in all the flyness about it. And like it's, plus Fly London is one of my favorite shoe brands. So I'm sure I'm going to find a way to pull Fly and Fly together. But you have to have a purpose and a reason. Now, so here's how it starts to all wrap together, right? You do your lives. You use stories to promote the lives. Once the lives are done, you download them and you cut it up into different pieces. And now you have content for the rest of the week. So you don't download and re-upload the whole live because it's already there. They can already watch the recording. But you maybe pull out the one exercise. You maybe pull out the 1 3-minute interview. You maybe pull out the one question and answer. And then you turn that into content, which is entirely what we are doing at Vengresso. So all three of them are all video, but they're all very different types of video, but they all begin to swirl around and support each other so that it starts to build and build and build.
That is really interesting. And I like that this is forming part of a larger strategy, and increasing the volume of content that we're putting out there, which we all know is super important. Yeah. Establishing our gym owners out there as either an expert in their field or perhaps an expert in the area that they reside in or that they're located in. So I really like how all of these pieces are coming together. Viveka, any more tips on stories before we talk about private messages?
So LinkedIn doesn't have all the coolness that Instagram or any other social platform with stories has. You can add text, you can add a couple stupid stickers, and you can add up to a 19-second video or an image. And you can @mention people.
Yes.
And that's it.
Yeah.
So
I think that's why I kind of had a play and then moved away, because I was like, oh, I can't do as many cool things as I can on Insta.
Yeah, there's no links, there's no swipes, there's no, Now, if you at least want to make it more visually attractive, one of our friends from Australia is Annette McDonald from Easel. And so Easel has a whole bunch of stories templates that work, they're Insta story templates, but they work for LinkedIn too. And so that at least if you go into Easel, and it's free to start, and then it's like $7.50 a month. If you go in there, you can find the different stories and then you can customize them yourself. And then at least you'll have a more visually consistent and visually appealing story, which, because you've already done it and saved it, you can change it up a little bit and then use it again.
Yeah. So right? Keeping it efficient. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sounds like a good idea.
Because not everyone's going to see your, 1% of your network's going to see a story because they disappear. So, feel free to use your stories again.
Are they up for 24 hours?
24 hours, yeah.
Yeah, same. Okay, cool. Okay, let's keep going. We've got one more sort of big chunky section to dive into, and then I know you're going to
Yes.
leave us with some fit inspiration for all of the viewers and the listeners today. So the last section we're going to talk about is private message. Now,
Yeah.
I use the message function all the time, but I
Yes.
have never used video in the message
Yes.
function. So tell us about how we can do that and why we should use video in the message function.
So yeah, the video messaging is huge, and it's really funny because I don't. My friends will sometimes leave me a voicemail on LinkedIn, on Facebook, but they don't. They don't often use the video. Now, Sue's always leaving me video messages on Instagram, video DMs on Insta, and then I always miss them because I'm not on it. But it's such an underutilized feature on all the socials, in my humble opinion. So, and it's only available on mobile app. You can shoot a video ahead of time and technically upload it using your laptop, but it's just way easier to do on mobile because you just click the little plus when you go into mobile, go into message, choose the person you want to send a message to or the group of people you want to send a message to, because you can do group messages. And then you click the little plus on the bottom left-hand side. It opens up to more features that you can add to your messaging. One of them is a video. And so, yeah, why wouldn't you add a video message? It's fast. It's easier. For me, I can do a video message way faster than I can type with my thumbs. It's human. It's personal. People go, wow. One of the things I do is anyone who invites me to connect, I'm at my limit. So I really don't accept just anyone. But tell me you were on this training and I will accept you. Just mention Chantal and I will accept you.
Thank
I just
you.
have to kick somebody else
Everyone
out.
will appreciate that.
Yes. But so I send a video message to everyone who invites me to connect, and I include resources. It's not a sales pitch because all the resources are free, but I do include those resources. So if you invite me to connect, like I'm going to send you probably our ebook on how to create a good profile. We need to put together a source around video on LinkedIn. Maybe I'll send them a copy of this interview.
Yeah,
But
perfect.
actually, I think I will.
And the ebook.
Yes, oh my
We're
God, I
gonna make an
totally will.
ebook of this one too.
Done. I have been looking for a resource. I have a
Yeah.
training that I did just earlier today. Like it's all blurring together for social media pros, and I was going to use that. But yes, the ebook. That's perfect. That's exactly what I'll
Done.
send.
You'll have it in November.
Excellent. Okay. No, that's good. But yeah, some kind of resource. So do the video and say, hey, check the resources below. I'll be sharing blah, 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 blah. And then you describe what's in the resource. And then you just share the links. We use a tool called OneMob that pulls it all together and makes it pretty, but you can truly do it just with native. It makes such a big difference. We can track through OneMob. You can track open rates. Our open rates are about 3 times that of when we're just sending a message on LinkedIn.
Really?
So yeah, I mean, it's and plus you can track using OneMob. OneMob's great for big corporations, but for a smaller company, like maybe you only have 5-10 salespeople, then use a tool called Hippo Video, hippo.video, because it does what OneMob does, but it's way cheaper. And so, but what's cool about it is you can track where your resources are going. So if, let's just say you reached out to, I don't know who it would be in a big corporation, probably HR, someone in HR saying, hey, we've got this great, online body, mind, spirit training. We'd like to introduce it to your employees. I would like to invite you to watch my Zoom. It'll give you, or to watch my LinkedIn Live. It'll give you a sense of what we do. It's Friday at 10:30, and you can put the link in there. You'll have to create an event on LinkedIn to do that, but you put the link in there. Or if you're not going to be around, here's a link to a video I did that shows you what we did with another client, and then you put that video in there. And then, if you have any questions about either our exercise classes or our meditations or yoga or whatever, please feel free to click on the link and book some time with me, and then use a calendar tool like Calendly. But it's they're going to watch it just because it's different and new. So
Yeah.
huge opportunity there.
And the analytics that you're talking about, like seeing the open rates, can you only get that by using a third party? Does LinkedIn, it's natively doesn't show you
Yeah.
that detail?
Nah, you'd have to like literally see, click
True,
through.
yeah. But
Yeah,
I guess
yeah,
if you're a small operator and you're only, sending out 10 messages a day or something like
yep.
that, then you can still,
Yeah.
go through and track it yourself.
Yeah, I would just use Hippo Video or OneMob. But the cool thing is, if you know you're going to be sending basically the same video over and over and over again, you wouldn't have to recreate it each time. You
Got you.
just create, right, your landing page with
Yeah.
the 3 videos below, and then you don't go, hey June, hey, Chantal, hey Jim.
Just
You're
thanks
like,
for connecting.
hey,
Yeah, yeah, I got
thanks
you.
so much for inviting me to,
Yeah.
blah blah blah.
Do
Yeah.
you have any data or do you have any, even if it's anecdotal evidence around if it's more effective to do a personalized message versus a generic one?
100. Yeah, it definitely is. With the exception of, it's funny, we have, there's a whole LinkedIn community of LinkedIn trainers, and we're always like, "Arr." You will be more successful if you personalize or customize your invitation, as long as it's not a sales pitch. So
Yeah.
I think the reason a lot of folks say customized messages don't work is because they're like, hey, your LinkedIn profile totally sucks and you should hire me.
Yeah.
Gross. Or they use automation, which can still customize invitations, but it's automated. Dear sir,
Yeah. Yeah.
seriously, dude.
I don't even open those ones.
Oh God, I
Yeah.
had an invitation. Dear sir, I can see that I'm not kidding. Dear sir, I can see that you're in the cleaning and supply industry like me. If you want to start conversations and create great leads like this, let me know. Are you report spam? Like, not a sir, not in cleaning supplies, not interested in a spam fest like this.
Yeah.
No, 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 and
Yeah.
no. But
Agree.
people do
Agree.
that all the time.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I don't get it. I don't get why people think they can get on LinkedIn and lose all their manners.
yeah, I know. And who's
Like,
responding to those messages anyway? Like, really?
yeah, yeah,
Surely nobody's
yeah. I mean,
responding.
it might be, I mean, I guess if you do enough of them, you send out 1,000 or 2,000 or 10,000 messages, maybe you book 3 meetings and close one deal. But in the meantime, you're totally destroying your reputation. You're
Yeah.
destroying your company's
Yeah.
reputation, and you're going to get shut down. LinkedIn will restrict your account if they find out. So it's like, just take the time, research your prospects, the people that you want to engage with, the corporations, the HR folks. Go into their profile, read their content, share it, see what they're sharing, deep dive into their experience and in their past in the groups. Check out their website, do your homework so that when you do reach out the first time, at least you'll have a false sense of familiarity. And if you can engage on their content enough ahead of time, they'll also have a false sense of familiarity, which means they're going to be a lot more likely to accept that invitation to connect. And once you've got that, now you've got voicemail, video messaging, the ability to add gifts, like all of that fun stuff.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. I am definitely going to give this private video messaging a go when I'm connecting with, really key people that I do want to stay connected with or reach out to. And as you were talking through that, I was thinking for our gym owners out there, what a perfect time to put together a PDF resource or a video that's perhaps about the way that physical activity benefits mental wellness and that type of thing, how it's going to help employees who are perhaps working from home in corporate environments. So I love the idea of gifting a valuable resource to that connection. Maybe you're reaching out to the head of a large organization, HR department, whatever it might be. Gift them something that is valuable, that connects them with you and entices them to continue conversation. So really love that idea.
Because think about it, you're a gym owner, you probably have 2, 5, 10, 20 trainers that are out of work or close to being out of work, especially if your gyms aren't open right now. This gives you an opportunity to hire them back, because you book them, like, maybe you buy their equipment for them, buy them a nice light ring, make sure they've got a good webcam and a nice mic, and a green screen or something where they can work out in front of. So maybe you gift them that, and then you pay them for 2 or 3 hours of their time, and then the whole thing might be $200, $300, $400 tops. More likely, depending on what you pay your trainer, probably closer to 200. And then you gift that session to the corporation. And even if you do it just once, once you got the setup, you got the setup. And so you can hire your trainers back to gift these sessions at least until, it starts to pop. And then you open your gym back up, and you just make it a studio where you continually run these classes, and you can have people, there's, the sky's the limit, right? Because the gym's empty, but it's now a studio, and you can be having all of these classes, and people can come to your gym, and it's still $25 a class or $50 a class, depending on what learning management system you're using. They can access different areas, and it's just like a virtual gym. And so there's so much, and it's not restricted to your zip code.
Yeah.
Anyone in the world can join.
Yeah.
Anyone in the world at any time.
Perfect.
Yeah,
okay, Viveka, so let's just do a quick recap, because we've gone through best practices for posting video on LinkedIn, tips and tricks for live video, how to use LinkedIn stories, and video tips for effective private messages. And I kind of want to wrap all of this up into our Keep Me Fit Bizpiration to finish off the show for today. So I'm hoping what you can do is give us your top 3 tips on the most important actions that our fitness owners and managers can do to take away from our interview today. Over to you.
Get your pen ready now for Keep Me's Fit Bizpiration.
Sure. So apply for live. But you know what? Even if you don't get live, use native video and showcase some aspect of your virtual hybrid solution. You might have to come up with that. Once you've done that, use stories to continue to promote that hybrid action, and then share that through your private messaging. Once you've got that recorded and you've got a link somewhere, just share that through your private messaging, video messaging, to keep that engagement and encourage that interest in what your new offer is.
Fantastic.
Keep Me, smarter member retention. KeepMe.ai.
I love that we've kind of put all of that into a flow and into an overarching strategy. So absolutely brilliant, Viveka. It was so nice to connect with you. Thank you for joining us all today. Now, where can people find you? Tell us how we can reach out.
Yeah, so if you Google LinkedIn Expert, thank you, LinkedIn and Google. If you Google LinkedIn Expert, my LinkedIn profile should be the first, second, or third thing that shows up under the ads. So it's just literally linkedin.com/in/LinkedIn Expert. Just let me know you were on the call. I'm more than happy to connect, but I need to know how we know each other. So just let me know that you listened to this presentation and your best takeaway, and I'm more than happy to connect with you. If you go to our website, which is Vengreso, VENGRESO.com, just go to the About page and you'll find me under the founders, and you can even book some time with me, ask me some questions. We focus on B2B salespeople, so we're very adept on how to do this B2B, but if you need tips and tricks about how to reach out, maybe corporations and business to business is brand new to you, maybe you've been business to consumer up until COVID, I'm more than happy to brainstorm with you a little bit. We'll try to figure out how to make things work for you. And honestly, I don't have anything to sell you, because we sell 20, 30, 40, $100,000, $300,000 sales training packages to big corporations. So I'm just going to help you out.
Hey, you never know. There's some big gyms out there.
That's true. That's true.
Sales package.
That's true. That's true. Good point.
Viveka, thanks so much once again. I just want to remind everyone that in addition to the podcast episode, this is also going out as a video. Plus, we've got an ebook. Plus, it's going to be on YouTube. So you can watch or listen or read this episode to your heart's delight. Viveka von Rosen, thank you so much. What a pleasure it has been to have you on the show.
My absolute pleasure. It's been fun.